President Trump making the rare move of going to the Federal Reserve headquarters today. The White House is now making the years-long renovation of Fed buildings part of their claim that Fed Chair Jerome Powell is mismanaging the central bank. National correspondent Atra El-Nashar brings us a closer look at those claims and the politics at play.
President Trump testing the boundaries of the politically independent Federal Reserve. On Thursday, Trump making the short trip from the White House to the Fed headquarters, ramping up his pressure campaign against Fed Chair Jerome Powell, who he first chose for the job in 2017.
I'd love him to lower interest rates.
Following months of complaints that the Fed hasn't cut interest rates, the president recently homing in on renovations of the two Fed buildings on Constitution Avenue in Washington.
You saw what we saw, and the big thing is to get it done. They have to get it done. They have to get it finished. And very importantly, we have to get interest rates lowered in our country.
Running about $600 million over the original budget, the project, which began during Trump's first term, is now expected to cost $2.5 billion. The buildings are nearly a century old and have never been renovated. Work includes removing asbestos and lead and replacing the plumbing, HVAC, and fire detection system, and bringing accessibility up to code. The Fed also has to comply with historic preservation guidelines. Reasons for the unforeseen costs, the Fed says: more asbestos than expected, a higher than anticipated water table near the Potomac, soil contamination, and changes to original designs. This renovation does not come at the expense of taxpayers. The Federal Reserve is self-funded through interest on government securities it trades on the open market, fees from services and loans it provides to depository institutions like banks, and interest on foreign currency investments. The project is overseen by the Fed's entire board of governors, not just Powell, and is subject to inspector general audits. The president's political allies are accusing Powell of building himself a lavish new headquarters, but it's unclear how he'd benefit because his term is up in May. And Powell says he plans to finish his term. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent reportedly convincing the president that trying to fire Powell isn't worth the economic fallout.
I know Chair Powell. There's nothing that tells me that he should step down right now. He's been a good public servant.
Powell's successor will be announced in December or January, a move Bessent says is designed to undermine Powell's influence. In Washington, I'm Atra El-Nashar reporting.